Can we just admit that our brains are kind of broken? Think about it. You can have an objectively perfect day. Nine amazing things can happen to you, but one minor inconvenience at 5 p.m. completely ruins your mood. You lie awake at 2 a.m., obsessing over a passing comment a coworker made 3 days ago, completely ignoring the fact that your life is otherwise completely fine. It is incredibly frustrating, but the truth is, your brain is biologically programmed to keep you slightly miserable. Psychologists call this the negativity bias. In simple terms, bad things hit us way harder than good things. Your brain treats a single piece of criticism like a life or death emergency while completely ignoring 20 compliments at the same time. It is also about noticing negative things more than positive things. And this bias, well, it's evolutionary ingrained in us, making it a natural mode. It's actually a survival mechanism from our ancestors. Back then, millions of years ago, remembering where caveman Thomas got bit by a snake is more valuable than remembering where the other cavemen saw a pretty sunset. The location of where caveman Thomas got bit by a snake is a negative thing, but it is important because then other cavemen knows to avoid that place so that they don't get bitten as well. Compare this to remembering where a pretty sunset is, which is a positive thing, but it is kind of useless when it comes to survival. These ancient times are when negativity bias saved the asses of our ancestors. And we are literally the descendants of those same paranoid ancient cavemen history. Let me repeat that. We are literally the descendants of the most paranoid ancient cavemen in history. If you are new to the channel, hello, my name is Z, and welcome to the Z Sphere. I am a 17-year-old with a dream and tons of failures, here to share the journey of life with all of you. Today, we are going to talk about gratitude and how we can use it to make our days happier when our minds are naturally wired to be negative. Disclaimers: this video may get a little ranty, and with that said, let's get into the video. So, a few days ago, I was looking for examples to use for this video idea, and I found one regarding Einstein. So, there was this modern fable, and it's a popular one actually. You might be familiar with it already, but it goes like Einstein was once writing multiplication on the blackboard in front of a class. 9 times 1, he wrote, equals 9. 9 times 2 equals 18. The class was silently observing as Einstein wrote more 9 multiplied by something. But soon, the class broke its silence. When Einstein wrote 9 times 9 equals 81, he immediately made a mistake when he wrote the next, going 9 times 10 equals 91. The class mocked him for making such an elementary mistake. Einstein stayed silent, looked at the laughing classroom, waited for silence, and says, "Despite the fact that I analyzed 9 problems correctly, no one congratulated me. But the moment I made one single mistake, everyone started laughing." That classroom is a perfect mirror for how we treat our daily lives. Your brain completely ignores the 9 things that go right every single day just to obsess over one thing you got wrong. Here, you can see the negativity bias in action. But actually, there's one more concept at play here. Negativity bias has a partner called hedonic adaptation. It's defined as the human tendency to quickly return to a stable baseline level of happiness after major life changes. So, if you suddenly got rich, after a few months, things can feel normal. You have adapted to whatever and it becomes your new normal. Same for negative things. COVID, for example. Humanity eventually adapted to it. Just a few years ago, wearing masks and using alcohol became the new norm. That is hedonic adaptation. Together, these two concepts work hand in hand and explain why we are naturally dissatisfied. Negativity bias is the reason why we notice and fixate on the negative things. And hedonic adaptation is the reason why we get bored and underappreciate the good things that are usually stable and consistent in our lives. Now, this is a simplification. So if you want to learn the details, then you can always look it up online. So anyway, dissatisfaction sometimes looks like constant chasing and wanting the next best thing while we ignore the many things we already have. Or sometimes, dissatisfaction feels like disappointment towards someone for doing one bad thing while we ignore the efforts they put in and that they did nine other good things. Somewhere here, those two concepts of negativity bias and hedonic adaptation are running in the background. So yeah, I hope now you sense how our minds are naturally negative. Now then, if our minds are subconsciously wired like this, then we must put in a conscious effort to rewire it. We must consciously take awareness of the positive things we naturally ignore or take for granted. And this is when gratitude comes in. Gratitude, defined as the intentional habit of recognizing, affirming, and appreciating the goodness in your life. It is not merely saying thank you. It is a deliberate, conscious effort to see the good in all moments. As a practice, it is an active hunt for things to appreciate, from mundane moments to extreme negative moments. And this practice of gratitude, it is not so new at all. It's a practice seen across the previous thousands of years of human history. It might not be as old as negativity bias, but it is timeless in its own right. It's one of our philosophical advancement, and gratitude is even practiced by many people in the past, from commoners to Roman emperors like Marcus Aurelius, the last emperor of the Pax Romana, an age of relative peace, calm, and stability for the Roman Empire. And until today, many people practice it for the benefit of unlocking joyful moments. And I share a little bit of my experience with gratitude. So, it was a few years ago that I came across this concept, and the way I practice it is through what they call gratitude journaling. The way it works is that I just open up a journal, it's empty, right? And I clock in gratitude journaling number whatever. And then I pick one thing to be grateful for. For example, it's a pen, right? So I write, I am grateful for my pen. And then the next thing I do is that I continue jotting down the contents of the pen. The pen is made out of plastic, so I'm grateful for that. The pen is made out of rubber, so I'm grateful for that. And I'm also grateful for the people that delivered it, the people that manufactured the rubber, and everything that made the process lead to having a ball pen. So that's an example of how I usually write. And this gratitude journaling, I did this for like almost every day, somewhere where there is nature, and I would appreciate things. I would look out there. Oh shit, I like that grass. I'm grateful for that, bro. It makes me feel something. And I also extend not just to things but also to people, right? So I'm grateful for this guy for doing this for me, or I'm grateful for this guy for teaching me this lesson. And I'm grateful for his parents for birthing this guy for teaching me this lesson. And then I did this gratitude thing every single day, and the effect is almost immediate, for me at least. I went from just living life normally, like nothing really special is happening. But the moment I started gratitude journaling, I noticed that every single day, I have so much to appreciate. Yeah, so this gratitude journaling, the habit itself was not sustained for so long. I think it almost lasted a year, and it was amazing. During that year, I was more appreciative of things. Like a bad thing can happen to me, and I was like, nah, it's fine, bro. Thank you for taking your time. It might be a failure, but thank you, bro. Thank you. And I was like, something like that. Very optimistic as well. And it kept me from spiraling down to a rabbit hole of negativity. It made my days more light, especially those negative days. It made it so light. And the mundane moments became more like, I don't know how to describe this. Maybe it became a little bit more sunny, joyful. So yeah, after that year or months of gratitude journaling, the habit or the practice kind of stopped for me, and the effect still lingered. It's quite surprising. Even actually today, I think gratitude journaling was that one practice that shaped one of my subconscious optimism, that I don't usually go to a negative thing. If a negative thing happens, I may fixate on it, but moments later, I would be very optimistic. I would pick myself up and look at the good things, just be grateful of them. That effect, even though I am not doing the gratitude journaling anymore, that effect of subconscious optimism carried over to almost all of my major failures in life. In moments where I stumble, in moments where I fall, in moments where I trip, I would always go, what a good experience. I'm grateful for the things that I learned. It will be painful. Yes, I will still process pain, but at the same time, I am kind of layering it with gratitude. Now, I will show you how you can have this in practice. The standard way to practice gratitude is through the gratitude journals that I just told you about. And the general way to do those is just writing a few things like, I'm grateful for my house, I'm grateful for my chair, I'm grateful for my pillow. Just writing individual things, that's the standard way of doing it. But I want to share with you a much better way to do gratitude journaling. Barely anyone talks about this. And this level up version of gratitude journaling is called gratitude chains. This is defined as the practice of tracing and appreciating the entire web of people, materials, and processes required to create a single everyday object. And it doesn't have to be an object, it can also be for someone. In practice, it sounds like this. Instead of just writing down, I am grateful for my house, for example, you will also write, I am grateful for the construction workers who worked on this. I am grateful for the truck drivers that delivered the materials. And you continue that chain of gratitude to the manufacturers of the trucks that the truck drivers used, all the way to the farmers that fed the supply chain. And if you want, you can even go beyond. Just like the example I showed to you guys in the sharing of my gratitude experience, where I write, I'm grateful for my pen. I'm also grateful for the rubber, the plastic, the ink, and everyone that made it possible for me to have the pen in my hands. That's sort of the gratitude chain thing, and I hope it makes sense. There is actually a story of a guy that did this so called gratitude chain to the extreme. His shortened name is A.J. Jacobs, an American journalist that thanked the thousands of people that made his cup of coffee possible. And by the way, he did not just use a gratitude journal to thank them, he actually went to thank each person face to face. So if we just use our gratitude journal to write gratitude chains, this guy actually went like to the people and looked them in the eye and said, "Thank you for making my cup of coffee possible." And it's it's quite interesting. And it started off as one dinner when he was thanking each person that made the dinner possible, like verbally. He thanked the cook, the cashier that sold the ingredients, and so on. Then his son asked him, Dad, what is the point of listing who you have gratitude for if none of those people can hear that you appreciate them? And Jacobs was like, I bet, bro. He took one of his vices, his morning cup of coffee, as a central gratitude point and set off on a journey to thank each person that made the freaking coffee possible. He thought it was going to be easy, but no, it was a long journey. He started by thanking the obvious, the barista. Then he thanked the suppliers. Then slowly snowballed to thanking the people who worked on the asphalt road that made the delivery possible. And according to Blue Zones, the website, I quote, he even flew all the way to a remote cliffside mountain town in Colombia just to look into the eyes of the Guarnizo family, a group of 8 brothers and 1 sister who grew his specific coffee beans. But the craziest part? The moment he thanked them, the farmers smiled and immediately pointed further down the chain. They told him, we couldn't do this without the people in Brazil who built our bean crushing machine. or the global workers who made the parts for our pickup truck. Even the farmers knew they were just one link in a massive global web. Later on, Jacobs would write a book about his journey titled Things a Thousand, A Gratitude Journey. Like, bro, that is crazy. Think of the many stuff in your room right now. The chair you're sitting on or the bed you're lying on, the shirt, the food, or even the same device that you are watching this video on. So many processes had went just to create that thing or to even get it into your own proximity. So many people worked hard to mine the minerals that made the chips of your device. And not only that, think about the thousands of years of history that made the technology possible to be able to support the processes that went over the things that are around you. If you are in the Stone Age, you can't have this. And now you live in this age 2026, and now it is possible. Well, I'll give you a few seconds to process that story and everything I just said. So here are some one block breaking montage. Enjoy. When we take our time to express our gratitude for the small things in our lives every single day and also try to create a gratitude chain at the same time, eventually you may start to notice that your days will become more joyful. You will slightly become happier. Not because externally something grand is added to your life, but because you actively choose to notice the many good things that are already in your life. Pick up a pen and paper and write something you are grateful for. Express your gratitude and find the gratitude chain. Be flexible. You can even write why you're grateful for the object or the person. Be grateful for someone for specific characteristic. Be grateful for something that expanded your horizons. There are endless amounts of things and people you can be grateful for that you can appreciate. So, are you ready to actively hunt these things? I think the secret to happiness is to simply notice the things that we already have. It is good to be ambitious and to chase things that we don't have, but we must also take our time to live with the stuff that we already have. I am grateful for having such viewers like you that watch till the end. Thank you, dear viewer. And as always, God bless and Godspeed, everyone.